For my presentation, I wanted to talk a bit about one of my favorite games, so welcome to Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy by Curtis Hiscock for Cultural Studies 3133. So, Getting Over It isn't just a game that features Bennett Foddy, but it was also made by him, entirely on his own using Unity. He was commissioned to make the game for the Humble Bundle, and similar to his 2008 game Co-op, he wanted to make something that was physics-based. Therefore, on October 6, 2017, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy was released. The game can be found primarily on Steam, but because of its low hardware requirements, it was also released on mobile. It's a single-player platformer in which the player's goal is to reach the top of the mountain, and this is you. You're in the cauldron, and that's your hammer, and you've just got to climb your way up to the top. There's no enemies and no real narrative other than player theories as to why Diogenes is in the pot, and so the game is fairly simple. Because of this, the main gameplay loop is pretty clear. You climb up, and unfortunately, you're probably going to fall down. After that, you get to make the choice if you'd like to reluctantly try again and continue the cycle. So far, the game I'm describing might not sound very fun, but the interesting part is how you control the character. If you can't already tell from the gameplay in the background, the way you actually climb is by controlling your hammer with your mouse and in turn moving the character that's attached to it. The reason this makes the game interesting is because it's a unique take on an existing genre. When you think of platformers, you might consider a game like Mario or maybe even Celeste, and so the assumptions that we make about new games in this genre is that they'd stick to these predetermined control setups that players are used to. So in Getting Over It, this way of controlling the character isn't something that a majority of the player base would be used to, and it adds an incredible level of difficulty trying to learn and adapt to this mechanic. And that's what leads us to a big reason that the game was so popular. Its intention is to make you mad. Figuring out how to control your character and make any progress is frustrating, as learning any new skill is, and this challenge is symbolic of the climb up the mountain that you're trying to make throughout the game. There are ups and downs on this journey, and Bennett Foddy does everything in his power to make the lows as painful as possible. Consider the music, for example. The song that I've been playing in this video is called Soul and Mind, and it's free to use from the YouTube audio library. This is the main song that's associated with Getting Over It. While it's calming and jazzy, these elements make it blend in with the bland music that you might hear in an elevator or while you're on hold. And so while the first listen might be enjoyable, hearing it over and over again while you continue to fall down the mountain and make no progress is meant to drive you crazy. On top of that, there are tons of other songs used to make fun of the player if you hit a big setback. Throughout the entire game, Foddy is also narrating, sometimes offering discussion on game design and the culture of video games, but other times just making fun of you a bit more.
What? Oh, you just lost a lot of progress. That's a deep frustration, a real punch in the gut.
This playful teasing as you fail over and over again on your journey is why, upon its release, the game completely blew up with streamers and YouTubers creating content of them playing it and seeing who had what it took to reach the top. Not only was it very popular when it came out, but the game currently has over 50,000 reviews on Steam with a very positive rating over 5 years later. This might seem surprising based on the fact that Foddy claims he made the game to hurt a certain kind of person, but what the game really does is capitalize on a player's need for challenge in games. Failure is a factor that draws players to many games, and is why some people like myself enjoy games like Dark Souls or competitive games. The difficulty and failure that players experience over and over again is entirely overcome when they win, or in Getting Over It's case, when you reach the top. Although you face setbacks, it becomes worth it once you finally achieve what you've set out to accomplish. On top of its difficulty, though, is an incredibly well put together game with great set pieces. While this is a bit more subjective, it's undeniable that the game features amazing visual storytelling and great level design. While there are technically no real levels found in the game, there are some spots that the player is a bit safer from falling than others, and the community has broken the map into 3 stages. Stage 1 is of course where you initially start the game by the water, with green being the primary color used to signify what is and isn't included in that level. While green can be a common color as it might be for a new player, it can also symbolize envy for a player that's seeing it after falling down the entire map. Stage 2 is sky blue, and calming to give the player a sense of ease that they've reached something of a safe space. For the most part, if you fall anywhere in this area, you'll only be falling a little bit. The The final stage comes after a brief encounter with what's known as Orange Hell, and Stage 3 features a night sky to symbolize that the climb is coming to an end and that the most difficult of the obstacles will be found ahead. Rather than creating something like title levels that would be found in other platformers, Foddy found a way to non-verbally communicate with the player and make levels without making traditional levels. Anyways, that's going to be everything for me. If you haven't already played Getting Over It, my 100-ish hours on the game and I would definitely recommend it, especially with the Steam Spring Sale going on now. Thanks for watching.